Coming to you live from Studio 6 in Seattle, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side. With leading edge topics, along with special co-hosts to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that's going to make you go, Now sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to TechTime Radio with your host, Nathan Mumm. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week for September 20th through the 26th, 2020. This is episode 15. I'm Nathan Mumm, and on today's show, we're excited to have our two core segments. Protect Yourself Today, focusing on cybercrimes. Then we have our top stories in 5 minutes, and we've moved that to the very front of our show, so it's going to be coming up right quick and easy to go. We have added a new segment called Nathan's Nugget. I made sure it's single, so it's Nathan's Nugget.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so and we got a whole new thing, so it's like picking gold from the heavens, so that's what we call the Nathan's Nugget. We have
keep defining that so everybody knows.
Okay. We have a new segment that we may air today or we may air on upcoming shows, but it's called Crypto Carnage. Of course, we have our main segment, and today's main segment is about cybersecurity insurance. So if you're a small business owner, you're going to want to listen today to this because this will help save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. My other job on my consulting business, we do this all the time for companies. So we're going to go through and give you some tips and tricks on what you need to have for your cyber insurance. And then, of course, we have our whiskey tastings. Mm-hmm. You never know when the Nathan Nugget will pop up in the episode. So stay tuned and listen all the way through so that you can listen and hear the Nathan Nugget. It's kind of like a little random thing. So it pops up and
it'll be at the end.
It'll be at the end. So now it's time to welcome you to our studios. Since we did our road trips, we have changed the studio around a little bit. So we are looking at.
I can look at the camera instead of you.
I know. So that's a real added plus, isn't it? So we've changed our studio around. We of course are gonna start, Mike, with our loaded question of the day. So here you go. You got to be ready.
How many preschools can you drink whiskey in and get away with
it? None, because I got yelled at from 3 people online. I was like, "Are you at a real school?" I was like, "Well, it's a private preschool." Really? And you're drinking? School hasn't started yet.
I was expecting that.
All right. What is a great place to host a wedding? You're asked the question.
I know. I haven't gotten married, so I don't know.
So you don't know?
Yeah, I would. I think a place to host a wedding that would be really fun would be in the middle of the road.
In the middle of the road?
Yeah, why not?
What are you going to do, like a protest, and you'll just get married in a wedding? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, that would be a good idea. We can just go down and block off I-5 and get married.
So I have the best place to get married is at a zoo. So Gwen, who kind of fills in when you're sick and when you're out of town, Gwen and her husband got married at the Seattle Woodland Park Zoo. And it was phenomenal. So it's after hours on Saturday or Sunday. Can't remember what day it was. But I'm sure that she'll get mad at me because she'll be like, "Oh, you should remember my day." But I think it was a Saturday, and went to the deal. It had all the animals out. They were feeding them at the time, so they were all taken care of. And then we went back into this little cove area, and they had the otters and the bears right up on the glass, and we're sitting in this area.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Now, it would not make it in the COVID-19 era because we were literally on top of everybody else that was there. So absolutely wouldn't make it through on the new areas. But that is probably the best place.
I think I would like, if I ever got married again, I would like to have a wedding on the beach, but then again, that's where I want to retire. So there's a big beach theme in my life.
Okay, just beach and a little Corona and everything's good.
Or
a little whiskey, or Corona beer. No, not coronavirus. Yeah, I meant sorry.
Yeah,
I meant the Corona beer. Yes,
little Corona.
A little Corona. All right, so let's get started right away with our top stories in the first 5 minutes. What's happening in technology? Nathan's top stories in the first 5 minutes. Welcome to the top stories in 5 minutes. Let's start the timer going now. And our first story is, we can't miss this right now, right? TikTok and WeChat.
Oh, man. More TikTok.
More TikTok. There's a continuing theme in everything.
This
Facebook,
is the
Amazon, Microsoft, or TikTok apps. I mean,
Facebook.
Or Facebook.
France.
That's right. All right. All right. So last week, the U.S. Department of Commerce announced they were going to put a ban on both TikTok and WeChat and remove them from both Android and Apple stores. Trump said that he was going to remove it. It's bad for us, so we're getting it removed, right? But Sunday, September 20th came, and the date passed, and both apps are still available for download. Both apps, yes, are managed a reprieve, but it still remains to be seen how long it will last. TikTok's attempt to avoid a ban involved a buyout process that would turn a U.S. company the U.S. administration had said nothing less would be acceptable. Due to national security concerns. In the beginning, Microsoft was the front runner to purchase TikTok from the Chinese parent company ByteDance, but those talks fell apart, and Oracle and Walmart teamed up and won the bid process.
I heard about the Oracle part. I didn't know Walmart was part of it.
Yeah, Walmart is a part of it too, but left ByteDance as the majority owner. So Oracle merely was owning 20% of the stake. Walmart was an undisclosed amount of this type of deal. So when the U.S. Department of Commerce announced the impending ban, it seemed the Oracle and Walmart bid wasn't good enough. But things quickly changed, and now President Trump has given the approval of the Oracle and Walmart deal to purchase a stake in TikTok. The exact details are murky, though. Figure that. According to Oracle CEO, upon creation of TikTok Global, Oracle and Walmart will make their investment, and TikTok global shares will be distributed to owners. American will be a majority of the ownership of ByteDance and will have no ownership moving forward. But ByteDance seems to disagree and maintains it will still have a majority ownership of TikTok. So in any case, the U.S. Department of Commerce has announced that it will put the ban back 1 week to September 27th at 11:59 p.m. No time zone was given, so 11:59 Eastern, Western.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right. So TikTok remains available in the stores, and if you have seen any of the ads running on television, TikTok is all over everywhere in the NFL games.
I better download that app
You better get it now.
today before it goes away forever.
That's right. So you can see people dance and do all the crazy stuff. Story number 2. This is crazy. Microsoft is buying Bethesda.
Oh, I heard.
ID and more studios. Now listen, Bethesda is my favorite studio. It's got Fallout. I love Fallout 4, Skyrim, and they're also buying ID, so they now own Doom, Quake, Fallout, and the Elder Scrolls.
Oh.
Just from that immediately. In a year dominated by new console releases, and as a matter of fact, we'll talk a little bit about that today. Because I had to get on really early to try to get myself a Xbox Series S or X, not
You're
the S.
getting an X, right?
I'm getting the X, not the S.
Not the S.
The S is
That's the
slim down version cheapo that says they
the
want
slim. Is that what you're calling it? The slim down version?
the slim down version for cheapos because it doesn't have the video graphics. I don't get it, but whatever. They still sold out of all of those today.
They're
too.
just restyled Xbox Ones. Is that what they are?
Yeah. Or the current one that they have with the new. The biggest gaming news of 2020, the Xbox maker has signed a deal to buy ZeniMax Media, one of the largest independent game publishers in operations. Its name may not ring a bell, but the studios it owns certainly do. That includes ID Software, that's Doom and Quake.
That's Doom.
Yep, Doom and Quake. Arcana Studios, which is Dishonored and Prey. Tango Gameworks, which is The Evil Within. And Bethesda Game Studio, The Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Microsoft is paying $7.5 billion in an all-cash deal, which is expected to complete in the second half of 2021.
All cash.
Yep. Subject to regulatory approval, the company was valued in 2016 for around $2.5 billion and has been the subject of a takeover speculation for much of the year. A statement published by Reddit and founder Segment Next claimed that Sony has been eyeing up on one of the biggest publishers for a long time. Xbox head studio Phil Spencer said that the relationship between Microsoft and ZeniMax Studios has always been cordial. After all, ID Software was behind the original Wolfenstein and Doom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they created the first 3D games.
Yeah, they did. All right. Story number 3 before the buzzer goes off, because it's going to go off in a second. Facebook will stop operating in Europe if regulators don't back down. And the buzzer goes. We're going to finish it, though. So here we go.
Yeah,
Facebook says it will stop operating in Europe if regulators don't back down. European regulators are cracking down on Facebook's ability to transfer data across the Atlantic.
They just can't catch a break in Europe, can they?
No, they can't. They just paid a bunch of money. Wouldn't they be nice to them? They just bought them all off. Now the tech giant...
just bought France off.
That's right. It's threatening to pull its service from more than 400 million European users. Facebook has threatened to pack up its toys and go home if European regulators don't back down and let the social network get its own way. In a court filing in Dublin, Facebook said that its decision by Ireland's Data Protection Commission, the DPC, would force the company to pull up stakes and leave the 410 million people who use Facebook and photo sharing services of Instagram in a lurch. And they'd all just go to TikTok. No. And it is, if the decision is upheld, it's not clear if Facebook knows what the circumstances would be to provide additional services in the EU.
Yeah, so, I don't see that. That sounds like some saber rattling to me, but
it does. And the last thing, we're way over time, but I'm going to continue on. The pre-rush order was on today.
Oh, that's because you got to talk about your Xbox.
But did you get the hot new console in Christmas time? It was up at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time by doing screen refreshes to get a pre-order. So I was up at 7 this morning. Actually, I was up way earlier than that. I was up at 7, and from 7:30 on, I kept on hitting the refresh button. I literally purchased 2 items that were in my cart, one from Walmart and one from Target. Mm-hmm. And by the time I actually went to put my credit card information and type it in as quick as I could, they were already gone.
Yeah.
The cart goes empty. That's not right. If you put it in your cart, it should, I guess you could just like put 2 or 3 things in your cart and just leave it there.
Yeah, that's to keep hoarder mentality.
Yeah. So I missed out. And I was bummed. And so I looked, thank goodness to online and Reddit. Thank you very much. There was a list of a couple other smaller companies, and I ended up buying one console unit from a company in Atlanta, a little like mom and pop store that had a pre-order. So I think to have one come in. If you don't get it, though, they say they may have one more pre-order or one more launch order group that will be on out. For the Xbox Series X, all of the PlayStation 5 pre-orders have been sold. And if you don't buy the X version at $499, you can buy the Xbox Series S, which is the slacker.
The slimmed down
version, which does not include a disc drive and therefore cannot play physical media. So all your media has to be downloaded, which Microsoft wants to force.
Yeah, they want to force it.
Yeah. But it's not capable of doing 4K. It's only able to do 1480p by 1200 frames per second, and then it will upscale to 4K. So so for your new 4K TV, you won't be able to get all the full graphics, but you can with your old Xbox.
So you fell for the scarcity ploy, huh?
I did. We'll have to talk about scarcity. How about I was up clicking refresh. So those are. Again, a little bit more time than we wanted to, because I wanted to talk about those.
Yeah, you just needed to talk about the Xbox.
I did. I just wanted to say it was so frustrating putting it in the cart and not getting it.
That sucks.
It does. You're like, oh, denied. It's like, oh, rejected. There's like a big L on it. Okay, so the bell has rung a long time ago. We got through all 4 stories. If you want to learn more about each of these items, you can always visit techtimeradio.com. And so that's spelled TechTimeradio. Somebody misspelled TechTime Radio. It was giving me a hard time.
BINGO?
On LinkedIn. So I just spelled it out for you. It's techtimeradio.com. And we have all the facts sections, so you can absolutely take a look to make sure we're not making up any of the stuff about Facebook or TikTok, but you can't make that stuff up. It's just right there. When we come back from our segment, we're going to be working on Protect Ourselves Today. We're going to get an update on all the cyber criminal breaches, because we like our cyber criminals, right? And ransomware payouts. We also have an announcement of our whiskey selection. We haven't talked about that yet. We're going to drink a little bit of it, and then we'll come on back and talk about it. And then we also have a great bit of information on our core segment coming on up later down about cybersecurity insurance. So make sure you guys stay. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to relax and enjoy a little whiskey on the side. So stay with us, and we'll see you when we return to Tech Time Radio.
We've all been here before. The conference room, the speakerphone, the missing files. Not in the room? Then you're not in the know. Well, this has been nice, but can we not? Microsoft Teams invites everyone you work with to work together. Be seen, be heard, be there when you're not. Share your files and your opinion, and maybe even a happy little fruit guy. When you're ready to unleash the power of your team, open Teams.
Welcome back to TechTime Radio. Mike, during the break, we got to sample our whiskey pick of the day, and we have chosen the Angel's Envy Finished Rye. This is from Master Distiller Lincoln Henderson. And after sampling 100 specific rums, they mix the rums with the whiskey itself. It's 100 proof, and the bottle price is $99.
And it's got a cork top.
And it's got a cork top. See, so you know what? It's trending up on Nathan's skill. So you had your first taste. What did you think of the taste?
Is it vanilla?
Is it a vanilla?
Yeah, there's a...
Or a cinnamon?
Yeah, it's a mixture.
It's a mixture. A little bit of pepper, too. I got a little bit of a peppery taste.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, we're going to continue to sip this, and then at the end of the show, we'll either go thumbs up or thumbs down. It did pour nicely, and the afterbite is not too...
No, the afterbite is not too bad.
Not too bad at all. All right.
But it leaves a taste. There's a
distinctive taste in there.
Aftertaste.
It's still in a little bit in your throat there at the bottom of my throat. Well, now that we got our drinks out of the way, we have a packed show, and what we have upcoming next is Protect Yourself Today. This is the current news on breaches and cyber attacks.
Protect Yourself Today.
Protect Yourself Today is a 5-minute rundown of the weekly technology breaches or business compromises around the globe. Story number 1. Are you ready for this? This is our positive segment.
This is our, yeah.
That's why we started with whiskey first, right?
So, yeah.
That's why we started with whiskey. All right. Online attacks hit education sectors worldwide. DDoS, which is delivery denial of service, which means essentially your website doesn't work. That is like today's Microsoft purchase from Microsoft Store for the Xbox Series X. Their whole website went down. And other attacks are surging because threat actors see an opportunity to disrupt schools, resuming online education, and potentially earning a ransom for ending an attack. So this is like positive too, right? So you have your Zoom outages as a snow day. There's a lot of ways to make it successfully.
This is what we're going to do is make all this stuff
different holidays names. Yeah. So,
okay.
So this is we call this the DDoS day off. So what did you do today?
The DDoS day off.
Yeah, DDoS day off of not having to go to school. So doing the research, it was funny because I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense, but we're going to find out there's actually a school that shut down because of this. So that's crazy.
I believe it. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I think it's interesting that somebody is just sitting around just wanting to disrupt all this stuff.
Just make it so the kids, you know what, the poor kids, I they are out there protesting. I want school. I want, so I don't,
sure.
So I don't know why they're.
It's probably a kid that's doing it.
It's a whole group of like 17 schools, and they're like, hey, we can shut down school forever.
I mean, kids know about this stuff from getting DDoS attacks on their game servers and stuff all the time.
So here we go. The distributed denial of service attack. That is what DDoS does. Distributed denial of service attacks are on the rise and are causing major network downtime. Whether executed by a hacktivist, which is, I love that, just call it a hacktivist instead of a hacker. Hacktivism. To draw attention to a cause, fraudsters trying to illegally obtain data or funds for result of geopolitical events. DDoS attacks are a destructive cyber weapon beyond education and research organizations across the United States. So, as of August 18th, 2000, that's when they have a huge bunch of stats they had, 25 of the largest U.S. school districts have moved entirely to online platforms and instructions, which equates to about 4.3 million students learning remotely. And of course, you don't want to do that hybrid stuff because if you did, we did our back to school special, and that's not a great way to do that.
Bad idea.
Researchers have found in the U.S. the average number of attacks against educational organizations increased 30% to 608 per week in August compared to July. They've increased in September by twofold. When all sectors are considered, attacks have rose 6.5%. And we have a school that was shut down. This is unbelievable. School shut down. The majority of U.S. increased denial of service attacks have been taken care of, but one such attack led Miami-Dade County. So Florida is just a crazy state, man. They're the only ones in the NFL that has fans going to their games. They just do everything a little bit unique.
Have you ever been there?
Only to visit the Mickey Mouse and
that's why.
That's why?
Yeah.
It's because Mickey Mouse is there? That's why?
No, it's just hot all the time. And
so you're just begrudgingly, uniquely, okay. And so it's Miami-Dade County's public schools in Florida were canceled online classes for 200,000 students on September 2nd. Story number 2. This is great. 3 Iranian hackers charged with targeting U.S. satellite firms. We're going to pick on, I think we have Iranian, and then I think our next story goes to a Russian attack, too.
Yeah.
So poor people. All right. 3 Iranian hackers have been charged in connection with social engineering and phishing techniques to steal data and intellectual property from U.S. satellite and aerospace companies, according to the Justice Department. The suspects were allegedly working on behalf of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a paramilitary group that has been designated as a terrorist organization by the U.S. And it lists the 3 names there, and I'm not going to read them because I will just butcher them, have been indicted on a federal grand jury on charges related to a hacking campaign that started back in July of 2015 and lasted until February 2019. The 3 alleged targeted satellites in U.S. aerospace firms, as well as Australia, Israel, Singapore, and the UK. Earlier this week, the 2 Iranian nationalists were charged with participating in a year-long hacking campaign and targeting vulnerable networks in the U.S., Europe, and Middle East to steal hundreds of terabytes of data. All right, story number 3, before our buzzer goes, because I want to start this, because this is a great story too. Russians defraud cryptocurrency exchanges.
Oh, this is your favorite.
This is up my alley. And there we go. The time has gone. So we can continue on, but we won't get to our final stories. But that's okay. 2 Russian nationalists have been charged with using phishing techniques and spoofed domains to steal over $16 million from 3 cryptocurrency exchanges in 2017 and 2018. Daniela Potnik and Dmitry Karsefachis face charges that include conspiracy to commit computer fraud and abuse, computer fraud, criminal activity, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and aggravated identity theft, according to the federal indictment unsealed information on Wednesday. The 2 most serious charges, conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering, each carry a 20-year prison sentence. So Ozark's in trouble if he gets caught. He's stuck for 20 years, so you better be careful.
We're going to go send somebody over there to get him.
So listen to what they did. Here's the crypto heist part. The scheme that led to the theft at $16.8 million in cryptocurrency started in July 2017. What they did is they targeted 3 cryptocurrency exchanges, Poloniex of Delaware, Gemini Trust Company of New York, as well as Binance, which is located in Hong Kong and has since moved to Malaysia. They created spoof domains that resembled legitimate current cryptocurrency exchanges, according to federal prosecutors. Then they used the phishing email attacks to trick victims into these 3 malicious domains to enter in their email address and password. We talked about this before. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a link, you need to go right directly to the site. Don't click on the link. Once they collected the stolen credentials, he began to assessing customers' accounts to steal cryptocurrencies. They don't move immediately. They keep that for a little while, so they have that. And then they start going through and they started using the cryptocurrency to launder their digital funds, according to the Justice Department. In addition to stealing credentials from the exchange customers, they decided they wanted to manipulate virtual currency markets by making illegal profits. So what they did is they decided to purchase up to $5 million in stocks of virtual coins of the GAS virtual coin, which then quickly inflated the price from $18 to more than $2,400, the Justice Department alleged.
Wow.
The defendants then quickly converted their digital assets from that fake fictitious account to Bitcoin and other digital currency, causing the stock to plummet down to under $5, causing a loss of the 3 victims of approximately $5 million. Both individuals attempted a similar currency scam in March of 2018. So, wow. Mike, always a bright segment.
Yeah,
on our show,
that's
right?
my favorite.
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, it gives me an excuse to drink the whiskey.
Okay, so we got a great topic today coming up.
Contemplate my life choices.
Your life choices. On Technology Insider, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity insurance. Since we just went over all the great things that happen here about your cryptocurrency being taken from you, we're going to make sure that you have the correct cybersecurity insurance if you're a small business, so you don't get hacked and you don't have to worry about it, or you end up paying off the people on the back end, which will allow more cryptocurrency in hackers to continue to bite. But very interesting. You guys need to stick around for that so you can hear that. We also still have Nathan's Nugget coming on up, so we don't want to miss that. That is amazing.
Amazing.
All right. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Gorday. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Thanks.
Your business deserves the same expertise as that of a Fortune 500 company. If you need a CIO-level service, why hire a full-time staff member at $250,000 a year when you can get this on-demand service for fractions of the cost? As your CIO on demand, we'll give you the steps you need to take so as to minimize interruption to your business and profitability, and provide you and your business with training and education to prevent future attacks. To get an efficiency review for your business today, contact us at www.ee-services.com.
Welcome back to TechTime Radio. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. Mike, during the break, we had some whiskey sippings. And what did you think about our whiskey?
It's hot.
It's hot. It's got a little bit of a bite, doesn't it?
It does.
Kind of like our pre-lunch deal with our spicy chicken.
Oh yeah.
That
wasn't as hot as the spicy chicken. No, it was hotter than the spicy chicken.
Hotter than the spicy. So it's got a little bite. It does.
It does.
It's got. I think it's black pepper in there. That's what I'm thinking of. But I'm not an expert, so it could be something completely different.
Yeah. If anybody knows, I really don't have a very sophisticated palate when it comes to this stuff. It just is it good? Yes. Is it bad? Yes.
That's what you just, no.
That's pretty much it.
We're becoming experts, though. So again, we are sampling the Angel's Envy finished rye, and it is 100 proof, $99 a bottle. So
I really want to talk to the angel.
You want to talk to the angel?
Yeah, who's drinking?
That's drinking it. The Angel Envy. All I know is that it has a cork top, and so that is like 3 pluses in the checkbooks.
That's the Nathan
that
seal of approval.
Well, it makes a big difference. Although I did like that Ballantine, and it had a screw top.
I know. We won't talk about that, though.
Okay. So now we're going to head on to our main segment, and we call this our Technology Insider. Welcome to Technology Insider. Get the inside information directly from the source. Mike, welcome to the world of insurance. And my full-time job, I'm not TechTime Radio host all day. This isn't my full-time gig.
Are you an insurance peddler too?
I'm not an insurance peddler. No, I have nothing to do with insurance.
I peddled insurance once.
Did you really?
I hated it. Yeah.
You hated it?
Yeah.
Did you do real estate too?
No, life insurance and securities.
So securities, okay.
Yeah.
It's all. Isn't it just like really? You just go to the main person and then you just mark it up like 10%.
Sure.
Is that
Why not?
Is that how it's done? Because everything I see when I get insurance, because I do this all the time on my consulting gig, I review insurance contracts, and they have to now in the contract they have to say how much they get. So they literally normally get like a 10% fee is what they get.
Oh, okay. No, I don't. This is way back.
So you guys didn't have to disclose your fee that you're getting for.
Yeah, I'm not sure
insurance.
if we. Yeah, I don't know if we did or not. That was a long time ago.
Was it a long time ago?
Yeah, it was before. Shoot, it was 1990 something.
1990.
Yeah, 1997, 98.
I would have been at Microsoft at the time.
Yeah.
And you were peddling insurance.
I was trying to peddle, insurance and not money markets, mutual funds.
Was it Allstate or?
It was a Wall Street firm.
It was a Wall Street firm.
Yes,
okay.
with their own product line.
With their own product line.
Yes.
Does that give me a clue?
I don't think so.
Okay, you can tell me afterwards because
it was just whole life and universal life and whatever else life I could
throw in there.
I hated it. It was horrible.
It was horrible. All right. Well, continuing on. So we do a consulting service, and the hot items right now, of course, is correct cyber insurance. So let's talk about that. A lot of people. This is a shame because a lot of people are spending time on their cybersecurity items, and guess what? They are not getting what they need to be successful. And what you need to do to be successful in this is you need to make sure, first off, that you have coverage that is going to pay out on the current processes that are being used. And there's a couple things specifically that we do. So I only use 2 companies that I review insurance with. And so I get paid nothing by these companies, but Chubb Insurance Company has a really good cybersecurity documentation process, really good on what they cover and what they don't, with some clear expectations. I got tons of stuff printed out here. I got 60 pages of clarifications from Travelers, a little bit more than what Chubb does. And then Travelers is the other one. And the Travelers used to be something on my no-no list, but they completely had somebody come on in and redo the cybersecurity processes in much more detail. They have a whole new process on that.
That's good.
So let's talk about the liabilities you need. All right, huge area of here. First off, you need to have a coverage for almost everything we're going to talk about at $1 million. Okay, so if you don't have $1 million, you're going to get in trouble, specifically because if you get targeted by a cyber criminal, they're a ransomware that they normally put out there for standard businesses, mid-sized businesses, not Fortune 500s, but mid-sized businesses, normally anywhere between $600,000, $700,000 to $1 million, and they don't really go above that million point. So they know that insurances do $1 million, $2 million, some insurances do $10,000, $500,000, but it doesn't do you any good to have insurance for.
They really got that market nailed.
They have it. So I mean, they spend enough time cracking into your system. They spend enough time knowing what they should ask to ask what needs to be paid out for what they have.
Supply and demand.
So you need to have $1 million first off. So there's limits here we're going to talk about, and then there's retentions. Do you know what a retention is?
No.
So the retention.
I'm not familiar with
So
this
retention
type of stuff.
essentially on the cybersecurity deals is how much do you have to pay. So your deductible.
Oh, okay.
But they don't have a fancy word for deductibles. They call them retentions. Every other insurance company calls them deductibles, but not when you do a cybersecurity.
They have to be different.
It's got a little different terminology. So first, privacy and security. So under your basic liability, there's 4 areas that you need to make sure you have covered. Okay? Privacy and security should be $1 million. Payment card costs, so that's any credit cards or anything that they would do, you need to have $1 million. Media, you need to have $1 million. So anything that they come on out, they decide to take your YouTube stuff, or they try to take any of your proprietary videos or graphics or anything of that, is all listed under media. So you need to have $1 million limit on that. And your regulatory proceedings on liability, you need to have $1 million, because your proceedings can be very expensive if you have PII, PCI, or HIPAA compliancy that you're going to have to go through proceedings in different areas.
Yeah,
So you need to have $1 million.
Like those companies that got in trouble using GitHub.
Yep.
All those medical companies.
All those medical companies. So you get $1 million to start out. Then on your breach response, so that was your liability, your breach response, you want to have privacy breach notifications, computer and legal expert notification for breach response. You want betterment, you want cyber extortion, data restoration, and public relations. All of those are very on a breach response, and we'll talk about that. All of these should be $1 million, again, all down the line. So your privacy breach notification, you get $1 million where you have to then inform people that you have a breach, which normally then comes as an action where you give somebody normally a year or 2 of free credit checking through their services, some training. All of that comes underneath the privacy breach notification. Your computer and legal experts, your $1 million is for the IT experts to come on in, take a look, and to do a response. It doesn't mean that they get the data back, but that is for them to actually take a look and see what happened on the breach, make sure that they close the breach. And what each of these companies, both Chubb and Travelers, do is they bring in their own expertise. They hire locally in the community. I've done this for them, actually, where they'll say, hey, we need a expert to come on in here and take a look at the breach so they can do an analysis. They'll hire third-party companies to come on in, and essentially once your breach happens, Chubbs and Travelers are in charge of your data. So everything goes through the breach analysis, legal experts and computer experts to come on in and to say, okay, now you can do this, now you can't do this, now you can do this, and give you a guidance. Then there's cyber extortion. So that would be $1 million, where if you maybe want to pay them off, you have your $1 million for cyber extortion to pay off. Your data restoration. So after you've paid them off to not put that data out publicly, you still need to restore it. So there's $1 million in services there. And then public relations, another $1 million. So hopefully you can get out without it making front page news of the Wall Street Journal, USA Today. As we go through all of our Protect Yourself Today items, you can see a lot of those breaches don't make huge news necessarily, so they're not front page news now since it happens so often, and you want to make sure you stay out of that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen now; it happens later.
That's correct. And now our cybercrime, so that's computer fraud, funds transferred illegally through fraud, social engineering fraud, and telecom fraud. So here's your vishing, here's your phishing, specifically related to cybercrime. You need to make sure that you have in here what they call a bad actor. So that means if somebody internally in your company is a bad actor, which they will consider anybody that clicks on a link when you shouldn't click on a link a bad actor. So Secretary A could click on the link to order something, and then all of a sudden her machine becomes infected. Then she becomes listed as the bad actor because she didn't do her due diligence to click on the link. So if you don't have bad actor,
we punish the people. It's always a user interface, right?
It normally is. But if you don't have bad actor, then all of a sudden that person then can become liable, and the insurance company will walk away because they said that you were not able to secure your network or able to have stuff. So computer fraud, 1 million. Funds transfer fund, 1 million. Social engineering fraud has to be 1 million. They normally come out with that 100,000 on the social engineering fraud, and then you have to normally ask them to increase that because that's their normal thing is, it's only 100,000. And then your telecommunication fraud would be anybody that would do any of your phishing stuff that we've talked about previously. Again, that's phishing on your phone. If you ever get a call from an IRS agent that says that you need to send money to this, hang on just a second, don't hang up. This is not a sales call. Don't hang up.
The FBI is after you.
Yeah, and then they have somebody come on in with an accent that's normally tough to hear, and they want your credit card. Then so don't do that. That's again about $1 million in fraud for that. So we're going down the line, million. Normally the payouts or the retention cost, or what do you want to call that? Your
premiums?
Your deductibles, yep.
Your deductibles?
Are normally anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 in the cybercrime area. So they pretty much let you off. The other ones are about $10,000, but in the cybercrime area, they're pretty low deductibles. So absolutely get that coverage. Now, one thing that businesses don't do is they normally don't account for business loss. So a lot of cybersecurity programs will end there. A lot of them don't list bad actors. So that's one that you have to look for. You have to say, well, do you guys have bad actors? Or what distinguishes if somebody clicks on a link? Well, that's a bad thing that you do. So you really have to make sure you drill down and say, okay, well, what is your definition of bad actors? Again, we have here on the video, you can take a look here. I got like 26 pages of terminologies of what certain insurance will reimburse or not. So like on their cyber extortion, the insurer will reimburse or pay on behalf of the insured, blah, 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 resulting into a discovery or a period of policy errors. So cyber extortion, they're going to take a look at your policies, make sure your policies are up. And if you don't have bad actors, guess what? That means you're going to have to pay for it out of your pocket. Business losses. So very important to have this on your insurance rider, as we talked about. You need to have $1 million limits on these. Sometimes they only allow you up to $250,000 on some of these areas. So the first business interruption, I always make sure is $1 million, and then we can go down for the other items here. But business interruption, $1 million. And so that covers when the company comes on in and takes over your IT environment, you're going to be essentially shut down. You're not going to be able to take incoming calls, outgoing calls. If you're a call center or if you're a distributor, you need to get your stuff back up and going. So the business losses allows you to then hire another IT company while one's taking a look at your breaches to get you back up and running. So, or the same company, but get you back up and running so you can at least do minimum services immediately. You have to have business interruption insurance. Then you have dependent business interruptions, dependent business interruption system failure, dependent business interruption outsourcing provider, dependent business interruption, outsourced provider system failures, reputation harm, and system failures. So let's talk about reputation harm because we're going to go into all the rest. This is to make sure that your reputation does not get plastered all over CNN. And so most people only allow you, or insurance companies only allow you to go about $250,000. Mm-hmm. But that's really essentially to hire a PR firm. So you already have your public relations person that you haven't taken care of. This is your PR firm person to...
Gotta polish that.
Polish that turd, right? To make it look like it's fantastic.
That's right.
But you do need to have that because nothing's worse than if your business does get hit, your competitors to take a look at you and take a big swing and say, hey, this is what we're going to try to get out of these people.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So now let's talk about the dependent business interruptions, the system failures, outsourced provider system failure. So if you use any outside sourced company, you as a managed IT service company, you as a vendor that writes custom software, any of those areas, you absolutely need to make sure that you have outsourced providers that are a part of your rider. So if they screw up, you're still covered. Because nothing's worse than having a managed IT company running your IT systems. You get breached by janitor guy X, Y, and Z. You know, he's on there thinking he's updating his fantasy football team, and he typed in his username and password, and it wasn't Yahoo, it was Yaha, and all of a sudden now he's in trouble. And if you don't have the bad actor insurance and protection for the outsource, the insurance company easily says, okay, well, you had a bad actor in your IT department. Don't you pay an IT service to make sure that this is taken care of? And you'll be like, well, yes. And then you say, okay, well, do you have insurance from that person? Or are they covering you? And they're like, I don't think so. I didn't sign any contract where I remember them saying that they're going to take on responsibility, which is number one error in a managed IT service company that you bring on. But you need to have all those additional services in place so that your outsource, your contracts, your system failures that could happen from any of your providers are also covered. All of those should come with at least a minimum of $500,000 and up to, again, $1 million coverage for that. Now, how much should your cyber insurance cost you per year?
$1 million.
$1 million, no. That's what the coverage though. You got half of it right. Just $1 million. You got it right. So your insurance coverage should cover anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 a year. If you're paying more than $5,000, then you're paying for services that you have no idea about and you haven't shopped it. And if you're paying anything less than $3,000, you have your standard business insurance.
Enough.
And all of a sudden, your business insurance company that you've done business with for 20 years, they also do cybersecurity, so we'll sign up for $500 a month or something. Guarantee you your coverage will not cover you in an actual security breach. So, as a business out there, business owners, today is the day that you need to contact your IT specialists, or you can always contact ee-services.com.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you.
You'll take care of it.
But you absolutely got to contact your IT specialist and have a cybersecurity insurance review. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I have an important Nathan Nugget of the day. Along with our whiskey pick. This is Nathan Mumm and Mike Gorday, and this is TechTime Radio.
Hey, I'm Bill Slowski Jr. I live on my own now. I've got Xfinity because I like to live life in the fast lane. Unlike my parents.
You rambling about Xfinity again?
You're so cute when you get excited.
Anyways, I got their app right here. I can troubleshoot. I can schedule a time for them to call me back. It's great.
You have our number programmed in?
Yeah, I don't even know your number anymore.
Excuse me?
What?
I don't know your phone number.
Oh,
He doesn't know our phone number.
You have our fax number, obviously.
Today's Xfinity service. Simple, easy, awesome.
I'll pass.
Mike, so we've gotten through our three. Welcome back to TechTime Radio. I'm sorry, we're drinking here off.
I just lugged mine.
Oh, you lugged it all at one time?
Yeah.
That's going to be a little bit of a burn there, bud.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. All right.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to vote, but
Okay. Now, it has a nice burn. It has a nice aftertaste. Well, welcome back to TechTime Radio. This is the show where we drink and off commercial when you guys are listening to commercials.
it's how we get through the show.
That's right. That's the best part of the show. Mike, would you like to co-host with me? Absolutely.
That's right.
But we'll have whiskey. Okay, fantastic. So
I was in at Whis.
Yeah, that's right. So we've tasted a little of our whiskey, and now we're going to go on to our new segment called Nathan's Nuggets, where we get to
Nathan's
add
Nuggets?
yes, where we get to add all great information that you stay for. But you know what? We got to do something for you.
Yeah, you talk too much.
I do talk too much, don't I? I do. So we got to come up with something for you. So not this show, but next show that we do, we got to come up with like Mike's
mysterious something.
Mike's mysterious. I don't know if mysterious is good. How about mesmerizing?
Mike's mesmerizing
What? Mike's mesmerizing
moments.
Oh,
is that it?
I think that's perfect. You like that idea, Mike?
Sure.
Okay, Mike's mesmerizing.
I'm going to
moments.
mesmerize you with my moments.
Yeah, and then he can talk about what made you go besides the whiskey during the episode. And then ideally what you can do is you can do some advertising for your own podcast too, kind of like some dual marketing.
How about
right?
that? Yeah, I'll plug mine.
So you plug yours?
Yeah.
Which is called What Drives You?
What drives you?
What drives you?
It hasn't launched yet. It should be launching soon.
Okay, so then you can kind of talk about some of the subjects there, and then if our audience is like, fantastic, Nathan does talk too much, I can start now listening to Mike's podcast.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the guy I really want to hear talk. All right, so let's now move on to Nathan's Nugget. This is your Nathan Nugget of the Week. All right, this nugget is that's fantastic theme music. Whoever comes up with the theme music and the intro stuff, that guy is just first rate.
Yeah. He should pat himself on the back.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right,
That's your nugget for the day.
This nugget is all about cyber insurance. We just talked about that.
We just did that.
Well, but I didn't give you nuggets to take home. I was just talking in general. Okay. And some people really keep on saying that they want something to drive home and take as their waste of their 45 minutes of time so that they can actually have something useful of the program. So,
okay.
Here's what we get. Number one in cyber insurance policy.
$1 million.
Get a quote. Hang on. You're right. That's number 3. Hang on here. So number 1, get a quote from Chubb and Travelers. Okay, those are 2 insurance companies you absolutely need to get a quote from. Whether you go with them or not, at least get a quote provided from them. Make sure your policy includes what?
$1 million. Oh, wait.
That's number 3. We're going to go right to number 3. Make sure you have $1 million coverage. So if nothing else, you got $1 million out of it.
Yeah.
Then that's good. Okay.
See, that's my nugget right
That's
there.
your nugget.
That's my nugget.
That's now your Mike's magical moment or your Mike's mesmerizing moment.
If that's my mesmerizing moment, I've got a problem.
Okay. All right. Always make sure that your insurance includes the terminology of
bad actors.
Oh, there you go. Good job. Correct. Number 2. That was my number 2. You should not spend more than how much money on a yearly policy?
$3,000 to $5,000.
There you go. See, you are paying attention. Look at that.
It's the whiskey talking.
It's the whiskey talking. Okay. Yeah. Make sure that any third-party provider that is giving you IT services has their own policy and that they cover your company on a rider so that they take responsibility for a breach. We didn't go into that too much. But if you have an IT service company, software, hardware, any third party, go and look at your contracts, pull them out, and make sure that they say that they take care of cybersecurity issues that happen on account to their service they're providing you. I guarantee you every contract you have out there, unless you've customized it, is going to say that they're not liable. And then what you need to do is you need to get on the phone with them as our final nugget with those third parties and tell them that you want them to cover you for cybersecurity services. And if they say no, then you need to move on and find new providers. Those are Nathan Nugget of the Week. Okay.
Should I try to get my .com back that the broker got?
Well, of your broker service? What was that? What was your .com called?
It was my old website was my name and .com, and I let it lapse, and somebody swooped in and bought it, and then they
tried to resell it to you?
Tried to resell it to me after I started my new one.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, jerks.
Those people are so smart. You know what? I do that. I come up with crazy ideas, and then I'll buy domains, and then I'll let them go. And then immediately after I go, then they start coming back to me. And literally, I sometimes write them and say, no, listen, I have no interest in this. I can easily get the 17 reminders that every service tells me I need to renew. If I let it lapse, then I probably really wanted it to lapse. So I have one that's coming up that I don't know if I'm going to let it lapse or not. It was called spongeandlaw.com. And so I'll have to tell you off the air this whole Sponge and Law deal.
Sponge and Law?
Sponge and Law. It's what happens when your in-law or your in-law to be decides to suck money from you. So
yeah, I can imagine.
I have a listener.
Sponge and Law.
I have a listener that I bought the site specifically for at a lunchtime event, and we converted.
That's hilarious.
So yes, okay. But now, Mike, it is the big reveal.
The big reveal.
The big reveal. This is our pick of the day. And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubble to the top. And we have, again, our whiskey is, let me make sure I have
Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy, and it is $90 whiskey with 100 proof. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think?
Well, what do you think I'm going to think?
Well, I think, do you like the whiskey?
Yeah.
You're taking a whiskey as a positive?
I give it a thumbs up.
You give a thumbs up. Okay. I am going to give the whiskey also a thumbs up. So this will be a 2 thumbs up whiskey. And that is, again, Angel's Envy. It's 100 proof, $99. And that pretty much takes us to the end of our show. But we're going to absolutely have to talk about Sponge and Law as soon as I get this off the air, and I'll tell you all about this idea.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell me about that.
It's like the best idea ever to create. So we absolutely got to talk about that. It was such a great idea. It'd be like you post people on the Sponge and Law of your Sponge and Laws, and then other people can
post.
This
is kind of like out your bad date type
yes,
of thing.
It was exactly the whole idea of that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining our program. Next week, we got a new segment from Mike called Mike's Mesmerizing Moments.
Mesmerizing Moments.
That's right. And I can't wait to preview your podcast. I know that your first episode is fantastic.
I wonder why.
Who'd you interview on your first episode?
I think it was you.
Oh, so it's going to be a hit already.
Yep.
I got it.
Yep.
That's right.
It's already on there.
No, it's actually, I think, really good. I actually enjoy it. It's all about the philosophy of how people think. And you actually normally take a little subject or a question of the day and you kind of like go through that and explain.
Yeah, it's, it's because I've always been interested in why people do the things they do.
Yep.
And that's what I study. That's my expertise. It's based around that idea. Why do people do certain things? And then... the interview is about what somebody's passionate about and why they think they like doing it.
Okay, cool.
And then the question of the day, of course, is somebody who wants to know why people do things.
So I think it's a great format. So we'll absolutely plug that. Thank you for listening to TechTime Radio, the show that makes you go, Now, if you want to learn more about our program, please visit us online at techtimeradio.com, and that's TECHTIME radio.com. So
get that right.
I don't know how you can misspell. I think they were spelling it TECK, but it's like TECH. So I get that. On that site, there's a place where you can join and become a fan. So if you want to get in on some of our interactive events that we do offline and on the show, definitely make sure you sign up for the fan mailing. And that's, again, on techtimeradio.com. You sign up there. This is Nathan and Mike, and we're signing out for episode 15 for the week of September 20th through 26th, 2020. It's been a great time. Mike, I can't wait to see what craziness we come up with next week.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Let's talk about now our Sponge and Law. All
yeah,
right. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
Tell me about that.
All right. Thank you for joining us for TechTime Radio today. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. Hopefully you enjoyed talking technology and, of course, having a little whiskey on the side. Remember, as we leave, Mumm's the word. Thank you for listening. If you like the show and want to learn more, please check us out at techtimeradio.com or on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. Just look for TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.